happy Sunday, and welcome to our weekly live chat. This week we are talking all things Preptober and getting ready for National Novel Writing Month, which is something I always plan to do and never actually do. So hopefully this will get me going in the right direction because November's getting pretty close. But to kick things off, we are just going to share a little bit about if you are the type of person who does nano prep or just thinks about it. So Helen, how does that usually go for you?
I am usually pretty prepared for nano. I usually have a working outline that's like chapter by chapter, so that and it's not like super detailed, just like 3 sentences telling me what's going on so that I don't get lost. But right now I have none of that, so
there's still time, I hope.
Sure.
I really, really hope. Megan, how about you?
I kind of go back and forth a lot. Sometimes I plan a lot. Sometimes I just decide to wing it. This year, I am more on the planning side. I'm doing a little bit of plotting this year because it's kind of been a while since I plotted a book well before I started writing it. And so yeah, I'm doing that, making my Pinterest board very moody and coming up with my playlist and all of that fun stuff.
And Emma?
I don't remember when was the last time that I actually was starting like a new project in Nano. So I'm usually pretty prepared because I've already been writing the book. But I do usually try, like in the like week leading up, I try to kind of outline the next like 10 scenes or so, just to kind of give me something to like get started really quickly, so that like I'm not starting Nano being like, oh, what was I going to write next? So
yeah, wanting to plan and running out of time and then just having to jump in is pretty much how my life runs. So that's typically how Nano goes for me. This year I actually have an outline from a project I'd meant to write a couple years ago, and I didn't quite have enough then. Like I have all the chapters, but I don't have the world building. So I'm really hoping I like carve out the time to get that world building in, because then I have a 30 chapter outline just ready to jump into.
Nice.
So I feel like that could go well. I'm feeling kind of optimistic, but I don't want to screw it up. So that's where I'm at. Do you guys find that you prep for Nano differently than you prep for just like starting a new book? Or
I probably would have started my book by now if Nano was not so close. But since it was kind of like at first I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to wait so long. But then October really flew by. And so I've kind of been artificially stretching out my prep time.
Better to be over-prepared than under, probably, maybe, hopefully. I know there's always people who are the other side of like, oh, if I over-prepare, it's boring and I don't want to work on it anymore. But I feel like Nano having such a solid plan can really, really pay off. Not for everyone, obviously, but I don't know. Just taking one less thing to think about off your plate never hurts. Hello to anyone who may be stopping by from For the Words. Today we are participating in their October Scavenger Hunt. So there is a special code word in the description down below if you're looking for that. That will unlock some goodies on their website. But if you're here and want to stick around and talk Preptober, we are more than happy to have you. And for everyone who is in the comments, please, if you have any questions, let us know and we will do our best to answer them. Might not be good advice, but it'll be advice.
We've got a lot of people over in the discussion now. We've got Emma and Jackie and Missy K, Nessa, Amber. No, same Emma. So excited. Vanessa said, happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadians. 50% of the people who came today are Canadian. Woo!
We get bonus points.
Yeah, you do. Those other Canadians who went and spent time with their families. No points.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Preptober, man.
And Griswold said, I like to have my major structural points outlined before Nano. I always feel the most confident when I have them. To be fair, though, I have won years that I pantsed, so it's not like you don't have to have an outline. There are other things I think that you can prepare aside from.
And I feel like if you're going into it knowing you want to pants, accepting the ridiculous can go a long way in helping you. Of like, maybe it's going to go way off what you think is going to make sense, but you're pantsing it, just do it. maybe something super interesting is going to happen that never would have happened otherwise if you tried to make it a perfectly reasonable story.
Yeah. We had Missy Kate said, I think I plan a little differently for Nano, but then I'm a Nano rebel and usually don't try to hit 50K. Nanoing rebelliously. So.
I feel like I meet as many people who nano rebelliously now as like proper nano.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, even on the For the Words forum today, I saw someone asking if like they keep trying to plan to prep and then just getting excited and writing that scene of like, well, now I guess I'm doing this rebelliously because I had it in my head. Why wouldn't I just write it now?
Yeah.
And I think definitely like as you progress as a writer, like the way you use Nano changes a lot too, where it's like not so much of a like I have to like write this word count every day. I have to get 50,000 words done every day, because you like no longer have to prove to yourself that you can, because like you have finished a book before, you've written a book. And so I find that a lot of years like trying to make myself write 50K like isn't productive, because I'm going to end up writing a bunch of stuff that isn't useful and then I'm going to scrap. Like I've won 1 year because like I just things were really flowing that year. But a lot of times like it's more productive for me to like stop at a certain point and figure out what I'm doing rather than just trying to like push on to get those words in.
And I've seen that as like the biggest criticism of nano, of like some authors saying, oh, I don't do nano because, you know, I'm a professional now. And I like the idea of adapting it to what makes sense for you and still participating. Because like I also know a lot of people who like, if you're self-publishing and writing a lot of books, you get into that spot that Megan's in of like, I need to write this now. I can't just, you know, pause for a couple months, but I still want to do nano because it's fun.
Yeah. And
it is the writing high holiday.
Yeah. It's definitely like your mileage may vary. You may very well have a book out there and have nano still working for you, you know? Like I've had the messiest book I ever wrote was during NaNoWrimo, but also the easiest to revise book I wrote was a nano book. So like, don't be discouraged if you're like, oh, but I want to be a professional author. Like we're not saying that nano isn't good for people who want to be professional authors either. It's just a very like, you get to know yourself and your writing style and what works. And nano is always there for both sides.
Yeah, and it's the thing that like the way you nano will probably change the longer you write and the more books you write.
For sure. And I like that nano has like added badges and stuff too, and they've kind of leaned into this idea that like November is still 50,000 words, but you can like show off that you are nanoing rebelliously now.
Yeah. And I like that they haven't changed it to be like fully adaptable like the camps of like it's still a thing. It's just totally okay if you don't do the thing.
Yeah. We had a question from Vanessa. What is proper nano? So that's starting a brand new book on November the 1st and trying to write 50,000 words of that book through the month of November. So until the 30th.
So, but lots of people start midway through a book, focus on essays, write fan fiction, whatever.
Yeah.
Revising.
Yeah. So they count like that word count, or they do like page count and just divide 50K by that word or page number.
I'd love to see like an official revision month through nano kind of thing.
Because that's like another criticism I've seen before is like, oh, nano doesn't teach you to like revise your book. It just teaches you to like throw words on the page. I'm like, well, that's not really their job.
Just you do your personal writing coach through the whole thing.
Because I saw someone making a whole case for like nano is like bad if you want to be a professional writer because it like doesn't teach you to clean up your work afterwards. I'm like, there's lots of resources out there for that. Like,
that's a skill you have to learn yourself. You can't like the point of nano is to get the words on the page and then you can fix it up later. It's not.
Although, as someone who is better at getting words on the page than cleaning it up later, I would love that encouragement on that side as well.
It would be fun if they did an event for sure.
Yeah. I know on Twitter there's a lot of people who do like NaNoWrimo or NaNoWrimo, which is like the month after nano, and they all are working on revisions at the same time. It's a much smaller community, but like there are people out there doing it still. Going along with that, we had another question. When you hit 50,000, do you have to validate it by uploading the entire manuscript to their site? So the way it works is they're not going to be like Like you could technically copy and paste one sentence a gajillion times, and it's just a word counting device. It says, yep, that is 50,000 words.
I don't even think it uploads technically. Like it's a copy paste, and like their system is not absorbing your manuscript at any
They don't save anything. But if you are worried about it, you could just do like your first chapter 50 times.
Yeah, or there are like word scramblers. That's that way you get the exact word count, but it'll put it into something incoherent.
Yeah, I've never had a problem. I don't
think anyone ever has.
Anyone trying to take my book from Nano. I always just copy paste, and then it verifies the word count, and then it just all goes away.
Yep.
Because I think I'm probably doing that every day anyway to get my updated. Like, here's everything I have. Here's my total. Because is it now you can like choose whether you're adding to your total? Or...
Yeah, they did that last year, so you could choose whether you're adding to your total and just put in the number you've written for the day, or you can do your total word count and put in your total number.
I did really like being able to just like update by what I'd written that day, because I'm always writing in different files and it's not just like one big Word doc or anything. So you've got options.
Danielle Lynn is here, says hi. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
Carrie B said, I'm an indie author and I always have a few projects going on different stages, so I can usually work on a new project or just be a rebel. Published my 2018 project last month. Way to go.
Oh, very nice.
Congrats.
Yeah, technically I'm kind of doing the same thing this year. I have my Nano project, but I also have a book I want to work on finishing through November. And I'm going to be counting both totals to board.
Yeah, Lee Marie said, I definitely sometimes use Nano for revisions, just making sure I do a few hours a day and count those hours as words.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Erin did last year, of like a word total or an hour total.
Yeah, maybe 2 hours or something. Because she knew she could write 1667 in about that amount of hours. Have any of you guys done Nano? Well, Emma has said that she did Nano rebelliously a lot because it's usually projects. Have the rest of you done it rebelliously as well?
Probably. That sounds like a thing I would do.
I think I did my second draft of Scarlet. So technically I did revisions, but I can't remember if that was regular Nano or if that was Camp Nano.
Yeah. The one like not rebellious thing I want to try, but just general Nano. I don't even know if it's a trick, but backwards Nano? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's not really exactly backwards, but they like break down the word count, not basing it on like the standard Nano daily word count, but you're starting with a really big word count, and then by the last day you only have to write one word. So it works really nicely for anyone who's got like exams at the end of the month or the holidays or just getting nuts and like you're going to get more done at the beginning of the month when you're feeling super enthusiastic. So you like put all your word power into those first couple of weeks, and then by the second half you're always writing less than what the standard word count is. It sounds really cool. It's never really made sense for me in my schedule, but
yeah,
it sounds neat.
I tried to do that, not like officially announced it or anything, but I like looked at the chart 2 years ago and tried to do that, and it was very hard. But like, even though I didn't succeed in it, I got like a ton of words right at the beginning, so it was like, to work through now.
Do you remember off the top of your head like what the word count is for the first day?
Let me look it up. So if you Google reverse NaNoWriMo, it comes up. Day 1 is 3,346. So it's not even like an absurd amount of work.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little intimidating to do that much for a whole week. Although by day 7 you're down to like 2,600. So it's not for everybody, but definitely a possibility for some people.
We had Emma said, I'm excited for Nano, but I started with no ideas, but now I have something that I'm excited to work on.
Yay.
So yay.
That's always the best feeling.
Yeah. I remember one year, it was like I didn't know at all what I was going to work on until the day of Nano.
Oh.
That was very stressful.
I feel like I always have some backlog of stories that I've just got to pick something. But
how do you usually pick? Nano prep.
Probably for Nano. That's probably the same how I always pick, but the one I'm most excited about of like, maybe I don't have all the characters as well shaped out or anything, but like I'm pumped to write this. Of like, I can't wait to get started. I know there's a lot of scenes that I'm really going to enjoy working on. That's probably how I'd advise people do it, not necessarily how I do it. If you, the one you have the most scenes in your head for. But I'm also a big fan of Nano writing out of order if you need to. But if all you have is a bunch of scenes, you don't know how they connect yet, write the scenes, and then you can go back and figure it out once you have a better sense.
I'm getting more on board with that. I used to be such like a diehard plotter that the thought of that just made me gag.
When I skip around too much, then like the scenes don't connect with each other well at all.
I feel like it works well with plotters though, like hardcore plotters.
Yeah.
If you know what the interim scenes are, so you're not going to mess anything up, then you have more freedom to jump around and write what you're feeling. And then if there's something you're never feeling, you can be like, oh, what's wrong with this? Because this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. Like in theory, I get why if you're a plotter, it should be super easy. But I didn't feel totally comfortable doing it until I had pantsed a novel. Like I sat down and I was like, this is the book I'm going to pants. I'm not going to plot it at all. And I wrote the whole book. It was a mess. But after I had done that, it was like my brain just chilled out for a little bit. I was like, we can skip around. We know where we're going. We'll go back and write the other stuff.
I've never been able to do that. I start at the beginning and I finish at the end. I love the idea of it. I just can't. I
can skip like a little bit here and there. Like if I like know what's going to happen, but I can't figure out how to make it happen, I can just like leave notes of like, these are the things that need to happen in this scene or whatever. And I can move on to the next one and come back to it. But I can't like jump around a lot.
It's so funny how writing processes evolve though, because I don't do it very often anymore. And I used to be the like, everyone should, give it a try at least. It's great. And now I don't know. My brain just doesn't go there. I feel like it just got to get through it.
Nope.
Yeah. Vanessa mentioned, I find it easier to write more words when I'm busy and have no time. When I have too much free time, it's harder to generate the ideas and keep my momentum going. I definitely feel similarly.
When I have too much time, it's really easy to just like turn something on Netflix and be like, I'm just going to watch like an episode of Schitt's Creek before I get some writing done. And then like 4 episodes go by.
Yeah, there was a period of time several years ago where I was unemployed and I wasn't able to find a job, and it was taking such a toll on my mental health that I was like, I'm going to take a month off and I'm just going to write full time and just chill out for a while until I am ready to jump back in. And I wrote less words in that month than I did any other time because the pressure of just like, this is all I'm doing is very difficult to work through. But when I have like a lot going on, it's a lot easier to be like, well, I have this set amount of time and now I have to write during it because I'm not going to get this time again. I don't have the whole day anymore.
And my brain is terrible for like a task will take as much time as I give it. So like if I have a whole day to do a thing, I'm taking the whole day to do the thing.
It's true.
So,
which does work for some people. Oh, as always with anything on our channel. If it works for you, then that's great, and we are so happy for you.
Yeah, I always like I always jokingly say that like I can't write a paper for school early because if it's like 2 weeks before it's due, I'm gonna be like, I have the time, so I can like go slowly at it, and then I just get nothing done. Like I like maybe make an outline, read an article to cite or something, but then like the weekend it's due, I'm like, okay, I got to get to work, and I can like write the whole thing in a few hours,
Yeah. Well, tying it into like For the Words, I find because I'm a fairly fast typer, most of the like, there's monster battles on the website that give you a set amount of words you're supposed to write in a set amount of time. And usually there's way more time than I need. So I will like write a little bit, watch a television show, write a little bit, get a snack. Whereas I need that like really short, okay, just do it. Like I could get it done so quickly, but nope.
Yeah, I would love if on For the Words they put some like advanced, like sudden death monsters where you have like an actual shorter period of time to write.
I don't know if they're still there now, but that is a thing that they're doing for Nano. They like sampled them over the last week.
Drafting.
Yeah, we're calling them endurance monsters. So it's more of a write or die kind of feel, not with erasing your words or anything, but you're basically trying to maintain a writing pace and like keep going. And like they're still tweaking them and stuff at this point, but that is the goal for like more of an aggressive sprint monster for Nano.
Ooh,
I'm so excited.
Into that.
And if you haven't heard us talk about For the Words before, it is, like Kelly said, a website for writers. It's part word processor and part game. And so you go in and you can choose these monsters to fight, and you type your words, and it just like saves it for you like Google Docs would. And you're able to just keep going in, keep fighting monsters, earning points. And it's very motivational.
Yes. There is an asteroid headed for the Words world around November 1st. So
no.
many aliens.
Oh no. We had a question from, where did it go? Bran. What are the snacks / food you absolutely need for Nano? Water.
Stay hydrated.
Self-care.
Yeah. I always want to say, like coffee and tea because I love those, but
Drink
make
water.
sure you're drinking at least as much, if not 2 or 3 times as much water.
Yeah, I need to get better at that.
See, if I get go too far that way, then it's like every 20 minutes I'm getting it for a pee break and I'm not writing anything.
See, that's a great thing though. Sprint until you have to pee and then get up and you get like a little brain break. You're supposed to stand up and not look at your screen for a little bit. It's perfect.
If we're talking actual food, though, for me, it's chips and salsa.
How do you eat that while writing, though? It's so messy.
Yeah.
Well, I get either the rounds or I get the actual scoops, and then like I just keep the bag open and a thing of salsa by me, and I can like really quickly like scoop them up, shove it in my mouth.
Just sustain yourself as you're writing.
Salsa all over my computer. I didn't end up splattering it because I feel like my fingers get all like
anything that makes
if my fingers feel
pretty.
dirty,
I can like wipe it off really quick.
Like a good thinking break.
Exactly.
I went to Disney World this week to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. So now I have this big old bag of candy that's going to be my friend through the month of November, I'm pretty sure. Because there's no way I'm going to finish it by then.
Oh, that's the other thing, too, is like when you can get the half-priced Halloween candy, stocking up on that on November 1st is like it's a godsend.
Yes.
Did you stop at the trick-or-treating booth that had the little applesauce pouches?
No.
You missed out.
No.
We got so many of them. We kept going through the line to get more. Yep.
That's snack and health.
I was like, these things are expensive.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bunch.
Gonna get my tickets worth in applesauce.
Exactly.
Completely reasonable.
Oh, gum is a good idea. I like that. Bird
Yeah.
Nano.
I don't eat a ton of food like while I'm writing. I like to use the food as an excuse to get up and see that the world still exists. But we've talked before about how I'm very food motivated. So I'm very much the type of person who would be like, I cannot go get my food until I have hit 500 words. And then I just like 500 words in 15 minutes. It's like there are tacos in the kitchen.
See, I almost do the same thing I do with like the studying that I was talking about like 2 weeks ago, where I like set them up on the page. Because like the time it takes me to do the scoop, get it in my mouth and chew, by the time I'm done that, I've written like 50 or 60 words. So it's like, and I can reward myself with another scoop. And it's like 30 seconds to a minute in between. So I don't get the like, I can just get my food.
Yeah, food does not work as a reward. I will just eat the food.
I can wait up to like 2 minutes. That's like my threshold, and then it's like I can just do it.
It's been 2 minutes. If I don't eat, I will surely perish.
Exactly.
We had a question from Carlin who asked, are all the WordNerds doing Nano this year? I don't think so.
Yeah.
We have varying levels of people doing it.
Mhm.
I don't think I will, which will be like the first year in a while that I haven't.
Yeah, but we all get sucked into the Nano vortex anyway. Like we'll be doing write-ins on this channel all month, so we'll be working on stuff all month.
Yeah, so we've got people on all ends from like, don't have the time this year. I am a student, but I like the community, to like, I'm going all in. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, I get that way with like Camp Nano, but sometimes I don't like even go into the website, but I'm still doing it. Like Nano is a state of mind more than a thing that you do.
Exactly. Like I'll probably be revising, hopefully, if I can finish this in October.
We had a question from Vanessa. Does anyone write better alone in their house or out at a cafe / library / etc.?
Sorry, I got distracted by the
fake YouTube comment.
This seems not right.
Joke's on you. That happened to me a long time ago.
Yeah. There's like panic, like because we used For the Word stuff. Like I gave us permission to do that. It's fine. Anyways, what was the question? Let's go back.
It was does anyone write better alone in their house or out at a cafe, library, etc.?
Cafes. I like writing in cafes.
I do really good writing at like the university library, but I have to actually make myself go.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like maybe I work best in mixing it up, of not doing it always in the same place. But I feel like my desk, my space, my rituals probably works better for me. I just like the excuse to go get different snacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I also very much like going out. I don't have great coffee shop options in my new area that I just moved to, which is kind of a bummer. But I still enjoy going out, and I found that I do just about as well when I go out at any time of day to write as I do if I wait until like later in the evening to write, because I do have a baby at home, and so if he's up, I'm not getting anything done pretty much. But if I wait until he goes to bed, writing time.
Yeah, my favorite coffee shop here is like 30 minutes from me, so I don't go very often. It is nice when I can, because they have really good chai.
Charlene mentioned writing in a library is hard since you have to keep quiet.
Most libraries do not require you to stay quiet anymore, actually.
Very true. It's actually
librarian Emma.
They usually have like a separate area that's like a silent space, and then you have to be quiet in there. But in the general area, you don't have to be. Especially at like university libraries, like the first floor is always like
there's like a cafe on the first floor.
Exactly. Like you go in and get food, and you're there to like hang out with friends and do group projects and stuff. Like they're not going to require you to be quiet. Yeah, and that's the area that I like to go to write.
And like public libraries, so many of them are like doing events and having like children's groups. Like they don't require people to be quiet anymore. For the most part.
Yeah, the Bird of Inferno mentioned I always feel weird at cafes / coffee shops because I feel like I overstay my welcome. You don't. They love having people there. At my local coffee shop, they would hand out Wi-Fi codes, and that was kind of your hint of how long you could stay without them expecting you to buy anything else. And so at mine, it was a 3-hour code. And so for me, I always felt the most comfortable. It was like either I'll stay 3 hours or I will write for 3 hours and then buy something else. But you're definitely not overstaying if you have bought coffee from them or tea or juice or hot chocolate, whatever it is you like.
Yeah. I always feel oversensitive about it too, of like the Tim Hortons here by default have like a no loitering past 20 minutes sign. No one actually cares, but I'm like, maybe I'll just go to Starbucks. They want me.
Yeah. Even at like the Tim's in my hometown has one of those signs up where it's like no loitering past 20 minutes, but as long as you have something with you that's their product, they don't care.
Yeah, I think it's that you bought something. Like they don't want you just standing around for 20 minutes saying you're like waiting for somebody or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Probably it is, yeah.
But if
It's
you
probably
have
different
like
if you're like,
where
and if it's like prime time and people are waiting for seats, but I don't like to go
Busy,
places when they're busy. So
exactly.
It's actually like Starbucks is not my favorite coffee shop to write in because it's busier. And so it's a little bit more distracting. I like going to smaller coffee shops that don't like have quite as many people and don't have people like coming in and out as much.
fair.
Like I feel like Tim's would be distracting. I feel like it's kind of noisy in there.
If you go at the right time of day, it sure is.
The one here is so quiet because it's just, I live in a very quiet town now, but they have like satellite radio that skips in and out.
Oh,
So it just like goes silent and jumps back in.
Oh,
It is the worst.
I would hate that.
I don't know how the staff does that for like 8-hour shifts. I would be throwing timbits at people.
It out. Yeah. Like you'd have to as a defense mechanism at that point. Same with like McDonald's. If you ever sit in a McDonald's for a while and you start hearing everything that beeps, like the reason the McDonald's employees don't go insane is that they have learned to ignore them or how to shut them off very quickly.
We had Jody compiled a list of some other YouTube channels that also do live write-ins during the month of November, because we will also be doing live write-ins every Sunday in November, as well as some weekday ones. But you're supposed to be writing every day. And so if you have all the channels all together, hopefully there's going to be something where
Also,
you're able to access
the official NaNoWrimo channel does tend to do write-ins.
Yeah, you might see us over there.
Yeah,
every now and then.
it's looking good. We'll see.
By might we mean yes, you will. Date
Just
TBD.
Yeah, don't know when, but we should be there again.
Yeah, so drop your favorite places that do live write-ins. Also, let's see. I guess that could kind of lead in well to like managing your time during the month of November. How do you guys do it?
Not well.
Not well at all.
I find it varies so much year to year, and not even necessarily because my schedule changes a lot, because mine doesn't, but I don't know. It just every year has a different challenge that you never see coming. So, but my plan this year is to do lots of the in-person events because I'll be in Toronto for the month. So they have a bigger like municipal group thing that they do a lot of write-ins. They do an overnight write-in. So I'm planning to like.
Oh, that'll be so fun.
That'll be so fun. I did it once. I don't think I'll stay all night anymore because I'm old now. But planning bigger chunks of writing around those days when you have that extra motivation, or just like writing with friends or doing these write-ins of like, this is a writing time that you've put in your schedule before November even starts.
If you're on the NaNo website and looking at your region and stuff too, you should find out if they use Chat Nano, which is it's a chat room that's run by someone who's just been in the Nano community for years. And there's a channel for pretty much every region, as long as like your region has signed up for it. And then everyone from your region can meet there and do write-ins there as well. It has a bot that'll run word wars for you. Yeah, it's great. That's how my region does like everything, because we're an elsewhere region. So there's like no way for us to be everywhere doing stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the regions that do that will have something in their regional forums telling you how to sign up and where to go.
Oh, Vanessa's going to do the Toronto subway write-in. I will probably also do that at some point. I think there's a couple. I haven't really looked at the schedule yet, but I will probably be at one of those. So please come say hi. I look like this.
She is very short.
I am. You cannot tell that here.
I always thought that you were very tall, and then I saw a picture from, I think it was from your wedding, and it was you with all the word nerds, and it's you and Megan that I think are the shorter ones.
We are tall.
Yeah, you're tall. I was looking at that, I was like, that's not what I was expecting at all.
Like 5'11".
Me and Erin are both average height.
Yeah.
Desiree is very tall. She's over 6 feet.
Oh, wow. I am definitely average. The median.
The first time we did like a in-person Word Nerds getting together thing, that was the weirdest thing. Like we'd seen each other so much and we're so comfortable. It wasn't awkward, but it was like, you have legs.
Sorry, I just see a question from Jada saying they were asking if Chat Nano is on Discord. No, it's its own separate thing. It's called chatnano.net. But if your region isn't signed up for it, then you won't be able to get into your specific region, but there is still a general NaNoWrimo chat. And sometimes people will post their groups in it, and then you can like join their groups temporarily and do stuff with their region as well.
I've never heard of this. How long has this been a thing?
For a while. It's run by this guy. His username is Utoxin, I think. And he literally like he's the one who programs it every year. He updates it every year. He pays to host the website year round. Like it's there year round.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I highly recommend it. I can link a forum post on how to log on.
I'll have to check that out. I feel a little ashamed that I didn't know about it. This is year like 14 for me for Nano or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Like, how did I not know this was a thing?
I didn't know about it until 3 years ago, I think.
And I have spent a lot of years in elsewhere regions, so I haven't like tried to check in on stuff so much of like, oh, there's not going to be anything. I'll just use Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got some requests for the link whenever we have it.
I am finding it.
Yeah. Sako mentioned we have a Discord for the Northern Virginia region, and it's active all year round. I know San Diego also has a Discord for their region. If you go to your find a region section on your website, on your Nano account, you can look at your region, and they usually have some links to like if they do have a Discord chat going and other places that you can find them.
I feel like there's been a lot of comments and I've definitely missed stuff.
Yeah, if you asked a question and we missed it, please re-ask it. We are probably not ignoring it.
Yeah, I keep like looking and being like, I could say this, but I feel like Megan has a better handle on where we left off. I don't know.
So we talked a little bit about time management, kind of. Yeah, we're all really big believers in using write-ins when you can, whether it's virtual or in person.
And that's all right. Like I haven't even tried the sample ones on For the Words yet, but I'm excited to try the more like sprinting monsters for when I don't have that extra motivation right into things, something a little more timed and like structured of pressure.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. I want to say, so technical stuff. Kelly, Helen posted in the private chat the link to the forum, and you are the only one who can post it into the discussion section.
Aha. So I can post it from here?
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you go to the live comments, you can stick it right in.
Because I did not think to log into the WordNerds account on YouTube.
I can't usually get it open while I'm running StreamYard because it's a lot going on. But it's nice that they have it right here, so we can. That should be in the discussion section now. Let's see. My child's shrieking downstairs. And Griswold said, I try to get as many priorities off my to-do list as possible before November 1st, not 3rd. And I say no to all my friends for the next 30 days. Yep.
Yeah. I have one close friend whose birthday is like near the end of November, and unfortunately, it happens every year, so it's always a problem.
Well, in America, we have Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
My niece's birthday is right at the end of November, and then like one of my best friend's birthday is right at the end of November.
I have
And
like
now I'm actually like living in the same city as him, so I'm gonna have to make an effort to do stuff.
I have like a friend coming to town like in mid-November, and we're like spending a day with her. And then the next week, my in-laws are in town and spending like 2 days with them.
How do all of these people feel about writing?
I know, right? It's like, I'm just going to sit here in Epcot and write my book. Bring me food, and I'm going to sit here.
I can pretty well track like what years are going to go well and poorly because we alternate holidays with my parents and my in-laws, and on the Thanksgivings that fall with my side of the family, it's like it's my side of the family, so I'm a lot more like involved. I have to be doing all this stuff and coordinating things, and then when we go to my in-laws, it's like I know I'm gonna have time to just sit and write. And so this is an in-laws year, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to sitting in my mother-in-law's plushy armchair and writing all the words.
And the nice thing with family, especially if you've been doing NaNo for a while, is like mine are so well trained on what November is now. So this is what we do.
They're like, oh, she's just got to go upstairs and write for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. This year working with For the Words, it's been more of a, no, but I have to get ready in October. So it's kind of a bigger thing now. But yeah, I definitely agree on trying to get things off your plate pre-November, of like all of the like, kind of repetitive chores, like doing a solid clean of my kitchen and stuff. I try to do around the end of October, and like I can stretch it till the beginning of December. So just like if it doesn't need to be done in November,
It's not getting done.
My first year that I did NaNo, I was still in college, and that was a real trip. There was a lot of like just sitting outside of my classes, just like typing, or like trying to listen in class, but also trying to type. Great typos as a result of that.
I think the most interesting one for me was like I was on my way home or on my way back to school on November 1st, and my Greyhound bus broke down 45 minutes away from where I needed to be, which was super frustrating. But it broke down for 4 hours, so I just sat there for 4 hours and wrote. And I had been writing like starting at midnight earlier that night too, and I think I wrote like 22,000 words that day or something ridiculous.
wow.
The rest of that month was so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff like I always wish for those moments, minus the stressful of like, that's why I like airplanes. Like you can't do other stuff. Whereas I can't plan distraction free time. Like there's always something else I can be doing, but it's that, no, there's really nothing else to do. Please just get this done.
You seem to have forgotten all of the time that you need to budget for anxiety on an airplane.
True.
Yeah, I get restless on airplanes, so it's like hard for me to like do something that requires focus.
One year we took a train to my in-laws' house because we did not have a car, and that was incredible. I felt like I was just in a novel, just like sitting there looking out the window typing. The beach was going by.
That sounds awesome.
The year we did Y'all Fest, that was November, right? So I took a train back and forth from New York, and I remember that being pretty good. Although it was like, go right in the dining car, not beside this stranger who was very close to my elbow space.
Yeah. We had some comments. Sorry, there's a lot going on, so if we miss your comment, we're very sorry.
But also, yay for all the comments. It's great.
Yay, thank you so much for being here. Catherine Webster said, I'm in Australia, so there's no Thanksgiving. I have pretty much no events in November, which is so good. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
So jealous.
I feel the same way. That one friend's birthday is like the only thing I have to deal with.
Baby Charmander mentioned, I hate being watched when I write or draw on airplanes. Because inevitably I'm on a murder scene every time. Or a kissing scene. And I already hate writing kissing scenes alone. Thinking that someone could be watching me trying to figure out the physics of it all.
Sometimes, like in-person write-ins, I like that element of like someone can see if I'm on Twitter and they know that is bad. But if someone doesn't know, like they can probably infer that you're writing a book or you're reliving that murder you recently did. So.
It's your journal.
We had a question from Jada. Do you guys sometimes stay on after the on-air portion and chat with each other? We do.
Yeah,
we are friends.
Before and anywhere from a little to a lot after, depending on how busy everyone is.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't just pretend to like each other on the chat. We actually do.
Speaking of, like slightly off Nano topic, but WordNerds related things. If you guys are on our channel now, you should peep our new header. Check it out.
Oh, I don't think I've seen this.
It's very subtly different.
It
But
is.
it's
But it's exciting.
I know.
still need to
I suspect what it is, but I want to see it. Come on. Oh, it's so nice. And she's like in the middle, like she's been there this whole time.
That made my night.
We had a question from Baby Charmander. What is an in-person write-in? So we'll let Helen, who's an ML, talk with it.
An in-person write-in is an event which is held somewhere, usually in public, like a library, or sometimes it's a local museum or a coffee house, or it could be on the subway in Toronto. And it's a group of people who are all taking part in NaNoWriMo, and they get together in person and they write together. And for a lot of them, they're run by your municipal liaisons, but anyone who is taking part in NaNoWriMo can also host an event and then ask your MLs to post it in the event section, and then people will, just smack the microphone. And then they'll post it in the events page and people can come and write with you.
Yeah.
They are great fun.
They are 100% the most productive you will be during NaNoWriMo, while also being the least productive at the exact same time.
Yeah. I'm hoping to go to a bunch in November because I feel like the first few I'm just going to be nervous, and I'll probably write a lot to avoid having to make small talk with people, but I like the small talk part too. So it's just like getting some familiar faces kind of thing. And
yeah. Pro tip for if you are going out in public, I would recommend if you own like a NaNoWriMo shirt, or if you have Nano stickers or something, have that on your person, or even print out the Nano logo and stick it on whatever it is you're going to be working on. Because a lot of times I'll show up and I'll be like, I don't know. There's a lot of people on computers here and I don't want to sit down next to anyone. But if you have NaNoWriMo something on your person, they're going to be more likely to be like, hey, we're over here. Just come chill.
And you can also keep an eye out. They've started the last couple of years doing where MLs can get a free ML shirt, and it's bright blue, and it says NaNoWriMo Municipal Liaison all across it everywhere. So it's super easy to see. And then if you see that, you can go over and be like, you're from NaNoWriMo, right? And it's like, yes, join us, have a seat. Yeah. We're always super stoked to see you. Even if a table is already full to bursting, trust me, whoever is running the event is happy to see you.
And probably very used to writers feeling awkward.
For sure. Yes. Everyone feels intimidated going.
And it'll only be awkward for the first little while, and then you'll do your first word sprint and things will be fine.
Yeah. Additionally, if you don't have access to a printer or anything, one of the things I would do in my last area is there was a Facebook group, and they would host word sprints on that group while people were live writing in person, that is. And so you could just go and comment like, oh, I'm going to be coming. This is what I'm wearing. Could someone else tell me what they are wearing so I can find you? And people never had a problem being like, oh yeah, I'm in a striped t-shirt and I have this laptop. Because like if you're going in public, they want to see you. Wait, a related question, how can you find the events page? So again, if you go to your NaNoWrimo account and you go to the Your Home Region section.
Which is under the community tab at the top of the page.
Yeah. It should tell you what all the events are there.
Mm-hmm. You'll see like a chat box. Ignore it. Right above it, there's like another little tab that says events right above the chat box. And that's where you can see everything that your MLs have approved as events going on in November or late October.
Yeah, mine start early, and I'm not planning to like be near Toronto until like maybe the 1st, maybe the 3rd. But there's like a pre-nano party and a board game night. I'm like, I could get to know people ahead of time. This sounds nice or terrifying, so we'll see.
Board game night would be so much fun.
They have one during November as well, so I'm definitely going to go to one.
Yeah, I'm so excited like when we're not traveling every holiday, because there's always cool like day after Thanksgiving write-ins or last day of Nano write-in parties. We had a question from Emma. Do you guys prefer to write in third person or first? I'm writing in first this year.
I prefer first.
I like third.
I like third, but I'll do first if it feels like it's right for the story.
Yeah.
I'm not like averse to either.
Yeah.
How do you guys decide which tense person POV to write in?
I usually figure it out pretty quickly, like within like the first scene or something. It's just like what feels right for that character. I've never had to go back and like change a book.
No, and like for me, I've always felt I could make things work either way. So I tend to just try to follow like genre norms of like what would readers expect when they pick up this book.
And like if there's like more than two, that's what I was about to say. I will do third person if there's more than
absolutely.
two. Yeah.
My default is like first person present. So if I start doing that and then I'm like, oh no, then it's a big thing. But I'll do like the one time that I was like, this novel's in third person past, and then I wrote it and I was like, no, it needs to be in first person present. So now I'm going back through and changing it to first person present anyway.
Yeah, that happened with one of my draft that I'm hopefully finishing up revisions on by the end of this year. The first draft was in first person present tense. And then I had to scrap the whole thing to put it in past tense.
I know this isn't super a nano question. We're like getting close to our last couple minutes here, but how do you know what's wrong? Of like how do you know?
For me, honestly, with the project that I changed, it was more like looking through it and realizing that I wasn't getting to know the main character well enough through the third person narration. And there are obviously revisions I could have done in third person to make that better. But I tried doing the first chapter in first person present just to see. And I was like, yeah, no, this is immediately better. This is what I needed. This works better for this kind of character. I'm doing it that way. But I've never had that happen before. So
yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was like when I wrote the first draft, it was one point of view. And it was a girl who I wanted to have like a very gradual shift, but like overall a big change of character. So she starts as a villain and ends as like a hero. And so first person felt right for that because I didn't want it to be so obvious. And when you're in first person, like it's not obvious to that character. It's not like, and then her heart grew one size, and then it grew another size. And so that felt right at the time. But then I decided that I wanted to add this second point of view. And I felt like while they were very different, their voices were a little too similar. I felt to be really well defined in first person. And so pulling back just a little bit with the third person gave me a little bit more room, a little bit more distance to make it obvious that they were different people.
Like I will usually, because I do kind of prefer third, especially for like high fantasy. I'm not super crazy about high fantasies being in first person, but if it's like a very like internal book and like very focused on like the characters, like emotions and development and like what they're going through, then I'm more likely to, like, that's when I've done it in first, is when like I feel like the focus is not so much on like the world and what's happening, but like what's happening internally for that character.
We also had a question about tense, present tense or past tense. Amanda asked.
If I'm writing in first, then present. If I'm writing in third, then past.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with first person past tense, but it doesn't come as naturally to me.
I've asked this question so many times. What was the weird thing with red, white, and royal blue?
It's third person present.
Yeah, third person.
That was strange. But you get used
It
to
was
it. Like, there's no wrong answers.
Yeah.
I'm so used to just present tense for my own writing that like I went into it. It took me until someone else pointed it out to be like, "Oh, that is kind of odd. It is third present.
Yeah.
That's weird."
And on that
And I will say
scale-
99% of the time, the book should not be in second person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a short story, but not a book.
Or like a short part of your book.
Yeah.
The first chapter of Meddling Kids is in second person, and it was the scariest thing I've
Yeah,
ever
something like thrillery, I could see like something
was
short being in
horrifying.
second person. Yeah.
Mhm.
But not an entire book. I've read one book that the entire thing was in second person and it worked.
Was it You by Carolyn Kepnes?
No, it was Ivory and Bone by Julie Eschbaugh.
Oh.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it's
that was
actually
good.
because you find out later in the book that it's actually like, well, you kind of know this going along, but it's like one of the characters telling the story to the other character. Like, yeah, so it works.
And the cool thing about Nano too is that you can try all those things and you can keep all the words for your word count. So like if you're not sure, write your first chapter 4 different ways and see which version you like the best and count all of those words towards your word count. We did have a question on my video that I posted where someone was asking about updating your word count. And basically how that works is when Nano starts, you'll be able to get onto the site and there'll just be like big things like update your word count. And it'll also be up at the top. And that's how that will work.
And then you get your beautiful, beautiful graph.
Yes.
I look for that graph.
I love the graph. So the graph is what attracted me to NaNoWrimo in the first place, if I'm being totally honest. Be sure to drop your Nano username in the discussion section if you haven't already. And we can all add each other as buddies because the more Nano buddies, the better.
Yes.
And I'm sorely lacking in buddies since the new site.
Yeah.
I know.
I killed all our buddies.
My like 13 pages of buddies are all gone.
Right?
Yeah.
I was just reading actually about why they did it. And it was because like before you didn't both have to consent to being buddies. Like someone could just add you and then they could message you. And so this way, like if you don't want someone to be able to message you or be your buddy, you can like say no. And there was no way for them to incorporate that without like getting rid of all of them. So.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Change is always hard, but
Yeah. I like the new site better. I never particularly loved. I know some people do love the old site and felt very attached to it, but I was never the biggest fan of it. Aside from the beautiful charts.
So I just feel like no matter what, we just get used to things. Like 5 years from now, when they have to update it again, we're all going to be complaining that it's different from this new one that we initially hated. So it'll all be fine.
That'll be my 13th year of Nano. I'll have to write something extra horrifying.
Yes.
Planning ahead.
Yeah. I was wondering what y'all's particular like best tips for someone who has never done Nano or never won Nano before would be?
Do they want to win, or would you be encouraging it's okay if you don't win, because it totally is?
That's up to you.
I think I made a video for you guys last year, literally being like, it's fine if you don't win.
Yeah.
I think if it's your first time, like, of course it is fine if you don't win, but like if it's your first time and you're still like pretty new to writing, like just try to get words down and just like see what happens. Because like this is the first book you're writing. It's probably honestly not going to be something good enough to be published. Like all of our first books were not good enough to be published. So just like get the experience of writing a book. Like that's the point of your first Nano.
Yeah. And my like go-to Nano advice is participate even if you know you can't win or aren't worried about winning, because every word you write that you wouldn't have written otherwise is a huge success. So
And if you're someone like me who on the first day, like you're super motivated because it's the first day and so you're like, yes, this is it, like I'm totally gonna do this, don't ever hit the point where you feel like you have to stop writing on the first day. Like if you're going like crazy and you can write 10,000 words on the first day, do it. Don't stop yourself at like 3K because you feel like, oh, like I should leave more to do later. Like, no, you're setting yourself up there. Don't do it.
yeah. that whole first weekend, because I think it starts on a Friday this year.
Yeah.
And then so the Saturday, Sunday, we'll have a live chat write-in on the Sunday. There will probably be something on the Nano channel. So you have that first day excitement, and then assuming weekends are your free time, because I know for not everybody that's the case, but if it is, embrace all of that time.
Ride that high
for as
long as you can.
Well, it still feels like it's fun instead of something very scary.
Well, and like the more words you get down in that first week when you're feeling it, the easier it's going to be when you hit like week 2 or 3 and you hate everything you've written and so you don't want to keep going. It's going to be so much easier if you're already at 30,000 words to be like, well, I only have to write 20,000 more, than being on par or a bit behind and being like, well, now I still have to write 30,000 words. Like, why would I keep going if I'm not liking it?
And that's why the graph can be pretty wonderful as well, as it updates what your daily word count needs to be in order to win. And I think there was a question earlier about like how to get through that middle part when it feels like the most struggle, and having that smaller daily chunk that you need to do in order to stay on track can be hugely helpful, but it does take work to get there.
Yeah, for sure. And just have fun. Nano is a really fun time. I saw someone, I think it was Missy Kate, asked about like, does anyone feel like writing fan fiction is like wasting time for Nano because it's like too much? And no, it's not. Like every word is writing, and whether that is a high fantasy or a fan fiction or a memoir, it is all valuable time spent honing your craft, because finishing a book is finishing a book. It doesn't matter if it's fan fiction or nonfiction or high fantasy, like you're finishing a book.
And just to like put some of that into context too, like if you're someone who wants to write fanfic for Nano, my co-ML has written fanfic for Nano for the last like 5 years. And she's an ML. So like if the person who's like leading stuff in your area is writing fan fiction for Nano, you don't have to feel weird about writing fanfic for Nano.
Yeah, it's fun, and it can be great practice for if you do want to write a novel that is your own characters and universe.
Or on the flip side, if like writing is something you do regularly throughout the year, and November becomes the time when you get to write the thing that's just for you and just for fun, and that thing that you can't justify normally, then yes, absolutely.
A lot of people sharing their word counts. Or not their word counts. Oh no.
I will double back and add everybody after, because I will get very distracted.
Lynn asked what time on Sunday. Our live chats are always Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We have been here every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for like 7 years. And we have no plans on not being here at that time until we die.
Yeah. We're hoping to throw in a few extra chats through November for people who can't necessarily be here at that time, which this particular audience right now are not Probably not people who care about that, but still, extra.
We will have like some weekday during the day, some weekend during the day, ideally. So we'll be around.
Yeah, we need to be writing anyway, so might as well all do it together. All right, we went over, which is not a thing that happens that often because I think we started mostly on time. So
we had a reminder from Missy Kate to put our Nano handles too. So I'm gonna put mine in the private chat for you to put over there, Kelly.
Okay. Please continue to chat while I move between tabs and copy paste things.
We love having Nano buddies. Holy crap! I didn't look at how many people are watching Missy Kate.
Right?
Watching right now. Nice. Thanks for being here, guys.
This is awesome.
That is the power of Nano.
Yes.
Best time of year.
And if you have not been here before and you would like to join us for live write-ins and such in the future, please like and subscribe. You don't even have to like. We'll be fine if you just subscribe. If you were only going to do one of those.
We will be back next week talking about something too. What is it?
Horror, right? Writing.
Yes,
horror.
we are digging deeper into genre, talking about horror, which will be pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's part of our series we have done in the past. Like it's hour-long conversations about specific genres. And we delve really deep into like what makes it that genre, how to write that genre, books that are great. It's a lot of fun. So definitely please come.
And Lee, yes, you did get here more or less at the end of the chat, but we're here every week. So
come back.
Is there anything else we want to touch on? Any final Nano thoughts or whatnot?
If you haven't signed up to do Nano yet, go to NaNoWrimo.org and make sure that you sign up. It's great.
I have a feeling this is going to be a very good year, maybe because I'm just like fully throwing myself into Nano for the first time in a while, but I think this is going to be a good one. So
yes,
hopefully you will stick around and write through it with us because words are good. And yes, as we said, next week we will be back with a genre chat on horror. And if you want to hear me ask that same question about red, white, and royal blue again in a couple of weeks, we have that is our last Sunday of this month. It's our monthly book club. And who writes that book?
Casey McQuiston.
Yes, so we will be talking about that on the 27th. Yes, 27th. And then it's all write-ins through November. So it's gonna be something. It should be fun. Anyways, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. If you have more Nano questions, you can throw them at us on any video, at any chat, at any time, because this is very much where my head's at this point. But hopefully we will see you all next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.